everyone. Here we are. Welcome back to the Kickin Show, and we have a lot to talk about. Justin, Seth, it's only the three of us tonight. Zach couldn't make it. Sarah couldn't make it. Matt Corson's just, working and doing the thing to make money. Summer's off. I mean, can we handle this show by ourselves?
I mean, we're getting rid of
I think
people.
we can.
We're getting rid of people one by one more than anything else.
Maybe that's a sign.
I'll tell you what.
Just call us the Three Musketeers at this point.
Yeah, right. So literally, I'm recording this right now, and the moment we are done and we hang up on this Zoom call, Rachel and I are driving out to Vegas.
Yeah, and see, we never get to see Rachel. We never get to see the better part of the Schuler family. We always just stuck with you. But that's okay. That's okay. Thanks. She's going to be covering the truck race for Kicking the Tires because you have a conference call or something that you have to be on that you can't do at the track. So, then I guess you're going to pick things up on Saturday and Sunday and round out the weekend.
Yeah, so I'll be editing her stuff. She's kind of looked at a lot of my articles, knows what to write, and she's going to have fun. So I know that. She's really looking forward to it.
Somebody better get her the Twitter handle and the passwords. I don't know that stuff. So
don't worry, either Schuler or I will give it to her.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, so that's going to be fun this weekend going into Las Vegas. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to join you guys out there, but with the protocols in place for COVID, NASCAR's not letting us congregate in large groups. So we can only have one in the press box at a time.
Yeah. Hopefully next year's a little bit more normal.
I'm hearing that they're going to try to do some things, but this week, big news in NASCAR: Hamlin, Jordan, and Bubba Wallace. Which I called. What
on the show 2 weeks ago?
Exactly. You think I pay attention? Y'all think I don't pay attention, but I actually do kind of know what's going on behind the scenes sometimes. So that's the big story of the week. Denny Hamlin teams up with Michael Jordan, my cousin. In case y'all didn't know, and put Bubba Wallace behind the wheel of what I'm predicting will likely be the 23 car, but you never know.
Yeah.
In the Charlotte Observer, Michael Jordan did say if it's the 23, he'd be happy, or if it's something else that Bubba chooses, he'll be happy. But ultimately, he's leaving the decision up to Bubba.
Well, here's my thing: he's Michael Jordan. He made the 23 famous. Yeah. And right now, Gray Gaulding drives the 23, I believe.
The 23 is not used.
It's not used? Okay, but Gray used to drive that number.
He used to drive it. Him, Alonde, and a few others drove it when it was BK Racing, Front Row Motorsports, that whole fiasco.
So there's no real ties to the number in NASCAR, and plus NASCAR owns the number, okay? So if NASCAR says, hey, you guys want the 23, and Bubba says, okay, yeah, I'd love to drive Michael Jordan's number. That's cool. That's my prediction.
Well, I will say this. Denny Hamlin Racing, sponsored by the Jordan brand in iRacing, does use the 23. And I think this is the first confirmed case of an iRacing team coming to the real world.
Yeah, I think that would be a stretch, though, Seth.
Hey, I can joke, though. I
would give William Byron that credit first.
Yeah.
Well, that's more of a driver.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. I think getting someone who's well invested into another sport like Michael Jordan, that I think is the coolest part because seeing a bunch of old footage of Jordan playing, like when I was a bigger basketball fan back in the day, that was always so cool to watch him play, see how he played, and look at all that stuff. That's going to be really cool. I think we saw Hamlin and Jordan getting together for a while. I think we've all kind of heard that through the grapevine for quite a while, but it was just kind of like who's the driver and getting all that in. I think this is a really, really good chance for Bubba Wallace, and who knows, maybe this is going to be a Furniture Row 2.0, and Bubba may be a champion in 5, 6, 7 years. I know a lot of people are going to be like, but hey, he's got the right
maybe
chance.
It's Furniture Row 3.0 because we need to improve because obviously Levine Family Racing was the Furniture Row 2.0 and COVID and the economy and all kinds of other drastic changes kind of cost them. So we may need to move it up a notch to the 3.0.
Yeah. So yeah,
3.0 or 2.5, either way, moving it up a notch.
We actually don't know if it's going to be Toyota. That part I have no clue on. I have not heard if it would be or not.
Yeah, even sponsors too are all TBA right now.
I made a prediction in my article the other night. I'm thinking that we'll see Jordan brand on the car and Nike at some point. Just probably that's a good logical.
I'm just throwing this out there, but if he does run the 23 car and Jordan brand, who knows? Maybe Throwback Weekend will have a Space Jam throwback.
Or a Charlotte Hornets. They could put the Charlotte Hornets could sponsor the car one race.
Or better yet, if Nike comes in, do you think they'll be making a race suit?
Hey, you never know.
That would be interesting.
There's a lot of different directions they can go.
Yeah, Jordan Brand is a division of Nike, just in case y'all. I mean, it's like a company within the company. And I think it's like the most lucrative part of Nike that there is. So props to those guys for putting this thing together. Who knew that Denny Hamlin and playing golf with Michael Jordan would lead to them, starting a Cup Series team?
Well, not only that, but who would have thought that Denny Hamlin would be owning a Cup team before Brad Keselowski, before Kevin Harvick, before Kyle Busch?
I thought Kyle Busch would have been the next driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going to move in that direction at some point, but I would have thought Kyle Busch would have been the next driver owner in the garage. And to see Denny do it, major props. But Denny's a gambler in more ways than one. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he is a gambler. He doesn't mind taking risks, and he's putting it all on the line. And he's putting his support behind Bubba. Props, hats off to him, man. Hats off to him. Really support this move.
Yeah, so that will be really exciting to watch next year. But probably the other big news is we know who's taking over the 42 after Matt Kenseth now, and it's someone that really didn't fall too far from the tree from a couple of years ago, and that's Ross Chastain. Thankfully, he doesn't have a certain sponsor that's going to get an FBI raid, hopefully not, but it looks like this one's going to stick now, and he's got a really solid ride for now the Cup Series. So what do you guys think of that?
Well, me being the guy that broke the story about the FBI raid and the $1 billion Ponzi scheme with DC Solar that cost him the ride the first time, we kind of knew this was coming down the pike when we heard that Bubba was not going to go to the 42. That he basically had walked on that offer, and obviously he took the offer with Denny and Jordan. So that was a logical choice. He's also, if I had to guess right now in stock value of driver salary, I would think Chip probably got a pretty good deal salary-wise with putting Ross in the car. I would bet that it's probably less money than he was paying Matt Kenseth, and it's probably less money than he would have had to pay Bubba Wallace. So they'll have Larson. Some sponsors, or Kyle, or for sure Kyle Larson. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I would say that it's pretty much an all-around go. McDonald's, Cessna, some of those same sponsors that will roll into
Advent Health.
Yeah, Advent Health. They'll all roll into some of that sponsorship on the car. And Ross can bring nutrient ag systems and that those guys with the farming and the watermelon and the Florida Watermelon Farmers Association and all of that. I think it's a good fit. I think it'll help Ganassi. Obviously, Kurt is a guy who will be his teammate at least for another year. So you're looking at the possibility of having Kurt mentor Ross to some degree, and I think there's already been some of that, and they work together really well from what I hear.
And I think at least on the Xfinity side, it's going to make things interesting as well because he's leaving a pretty stout seat at Colleague Racing, so you're going to have an open seat there possibly. And if I remember correctly, Chris Rice on Sirius XM the other day actually said that they're looking at having 3 full-time cars in the Xfinity Series. So with the musical chairs in the Cup Series starting to come to a close, it seems like the Xfinity Series is starting to open up now.
I don't think that all the seats are filled in the Cup Series, and I'm not sure that they're going to be filled with what everyone thinks they're going to, or who everyone else is going to be filled with. You know, I'm not convinced that Kyle Larson is going to Hendrick Motorsports. I know a lot of people say he is, but if Kyle Larson comes back to NASCAR Cup Series, I still have, and I think he will. I mean, I support it. I think it'd be great. Be great for the sport. It'd be great for Kyle. I mean, bottom line, he made a mistake, pay the price, move on, but I think he goes to Tony Stewart. I think he goes to Stewart-Haas Racing, and he's driving probably, if I had to guess, the number 14 car. Or, I don't know, I think Almirola may have another year.
He just re-upped, I think.
Yeah. So I think he's got another year with Smithfield. I'm not sure the status of Clint Boyer. You know, a lot of things can happen between now and the end of the season. And I know from dealing with Kurt and following his time at Stewart-Haas that things can change from race 1, 2, or 3 in the playoffs to race 7, 8, and 9 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least for Larson, even Bubba, I want to say it was a month or two ago, Bubba Wallace had even said that he thinks Kyle deserves a second chance, that he paid his dues, and if he wanted to come back, he would fully endorse it as well.
Look, there's a lot to that whole thing that happened that night that no one's talked about. I still buy into. I know what he said, and it was bad, and he shouldn't have said it. But I don't think everybody knows the context of what was happening behind the scenes with spotter chatter and radio issues and people trying to hack in, or however they got into the spotter channel. They were causing some serious issues that night. Whether iRacing wants to admit it or not, or wants to talk about it, I'm not trying to make those guys mad. I invited them on the show. I'd love for them to talk to us. But I still think, and Seth, you're the iRacing guy, I've heard a lot of stuff from people in the sport that said the whole story wasn't told, and Kyle stood up and took it, and he owned it, and it is what it is.
Well, my understanding is, for one, that the way Landon Castle set up the server, only people who had a password could get into the server. So I don't know if somebody gave out the password or something like that. And the only reason why I know that is I know who broadcasted that race, and for them to get, I believe it was Alex Hayden and Alan Bestwick into the server, they had to actually go and ask iRacing to give them iRacing broadcaster credentials for like 1 day to be able to get them into the server, because that was the only way to bypass the password.
Yeah, but they also had too many people in there, and all the spotters couldn't get in for some reason.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure how that worked out.
Well, how that works is it's iRacing limits it to 55 crew, spectator, spotter. It's all lumped into one. So 55 people can join a server. That being said, if you join just as a spectator, nobody else can hear you. If you join as a spotter or a crew chief of a driver in the session, everybody can hear you as soon as you key up. And you would show up as, depending on the setting of the driver in question, either as your own name or as spotter of so-and-so driver.
Well, bottom line, it was a mistake. It happened. As Bubba said, he's paid his dues. It's time to let Kyle Larson come back to NASCAR and welcome him with open arms.
And one last thing I do want to note, at least 1/3 of the drivers that took part in that race, that Monza Madness race, did not have a spotter password either. And the main reason why I know that is they also didn't have a spotter password when the iRacing Pro Invitational was going on.
Well, as I said, I know that there was some communication issues that night, and maybe that played into it. We'll never know the whole story, but I've been told by several people that it was kind of a cluster. And but we'll leave it at that. Like I said, still want to see Kyle Larson come back in. I want to see him go, and I if he goes to the 48, the 88, or wherever, that's fine. I still think there's somebody else for those rides. But if he goes to Stuart Haas, as I predict, that'd be great for the sport.
Yeah. All right. Well, one last thing. We'll talk a little bit about this since this is right around the corner from your place, Jerry. But the All-Star race has been moved to Texas, and apparently
Says who?
Says who?
Yeah, says who?
Wasn't that first reported by The Athletic, or
It was reported, but does that mean it's right?
is it? Oh, okay.
Just saying. I'm not dissing Jordan, and Jordan Bianchi's a great friend of mine. The Athletic's a great publication. Jeff Gluck's a good friend of mine, and he writes there as well. I'm just not 100% sure that is 100% accurate on how everything's going to go down with an all-star race at Texas losing a regular season race, and COTA gaining a race. And that's what that story said. And my sources tell me that is a lot of speculation and may not necessarily be what everyone involved is talking about.
I've heard that there's a couple of different contingencies also involved, that it's like if A happens, then the All-Star race will move to Texas, and then B will happen, which will give COTA a race, which, again, it's all contingent on 2 or 3 different moving parts that until they're done moving, we don't know exactly what's going on.
Point of order. COTA stands for Circuit of the Americas. It's a road course race. F1 purpose built in Austin or outside of Austin on an old landfill. Just for those who don't know, Circuit of the Americas track outside of Austin. 3.5, 4 hours from me.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have wanted more road courses, and COTA is definitely a good combination of technicality and high speed and all that stuff. So if we were able to make that possible, that would be a lot of fun to go to.
I think it would be a good track to race at.
Yeah.
Some people don't agree with me. I definitely think it would be a good racetrack as long as we don't have to give up a bunch of stuff at Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway is one of my favorite tracks on the circuit because it's my home track, guys. I've got to say that. I know people say it doesn't race like it used to. It's not, but still, I'm from Texas. We stick together, and we still have great racing, and it has one of the biggest purses in the sport. So no matter how it races, the drivers, they like coming to Texas Motor Speedway because they get big bucks.
Now here's my question to you guys: how many road courses do we need? Because I'm all for more road courses. I think maybe right now we would have 3 in a normal year. I'd say 4 or 5 is probably a good number.
We're probably going to go to 6.
Yeah, I would probably say 5 or 6 would be my number.
Yeah, I'd say somewhere. I think 6 is maybe the max.
So here's the thing. I mean, one of the things that I'm also predicting about COTA is, and I joked about this today with someone, just let me know when Marcus Smith buys it. Then we'll know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, because NASCAR's not buying it. I feel pretty confident. I could be wrong, but I feel confident that NASCAR's not buying COTA.
Well, if Marcus Smith isn't buying COTA, the only other person that makes any sense is Roger Penske.
I was just about
to say Tony Stewart.
Or Tony Stewart, for that matter.
Tony Stewart would make it a giant dirt road course.
Yeah. That's who I need to get. That is who I need to get on the podcast.
I was going to say, we need to get Tony on the podcast and be like, hey, Tony, what does it take to make a dirt road course, man? Everyone likes the dirt tracks. Everyone likes the road courses. Let's just make ourselves a freaking dang dirt road course, baby.
Great idea. Great idea. I say we ask Tony and see if he'll talk to us. I don't know.
All right, well, let's talk about some of the races.
I'll send out a feeler and see what happens.
Beautiful. Well, and maybe he'll give us some insight on Larson too. All right, well, let's.
I doubt that.
Let's talk about some of the racing. Some good racing at Bristol. Sam Meyer in the Truck Series winning at Bristol in his 7th career truck start. That was pretty cool to see.
I enjoyed that. I was watching that race, and to give you an idea, when I told my wife what was going on, she's like, "Don't change the channel. I want to see this kid win." Who knew?
He is immensely talented. He's won quite a bit in ARCA. He won the K&N Pro East Series championship last year. That's now the ARCA East Series, which he's leading the points there as well this year.
Why isn't he on the show tonight? Who dropped the ball?
But he just adding to his stats essentially, or his experience. He drove for Junior Motorsports in late models, and he won 4 races in late model stock, 1 in the Cars Tour, the Bobby Isaac Memorial, and 2 other races. Next year, after his 18th birthday, he's moving back to Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, and he's running full-time in the Xfinity Series starting in 2022 for Junior Motorsports.
That's cool.
He's definitely got out there this past weekend and showed the world that he knows how to drive fast and turn left at one of the toughest tracks on the circuit at Bristol.
And in one of the hardest situations too, because that was a playoff race for the trucks. So
and none of the practice as well.
Yeah, he's not racing for a championship.
Now, and not only that, later on that same night, he went and he won the ARCA race.
Yeah, did he win the ARCA race?
He won the ARCA race.
Okay, he won the ARCA race too. Wow, I missed that because maybe I after that was over with, I was working on other stuff. But yeah, I finally got to
him and Ty Gibbs, they dueled for about the first 150 or so laps, and then Ty something with one of his tires, he kept breaking loose off the corner and just faded away. Sam ran away with it at that point, and then the ARCA race on Saturday, Sam wasn't in the field, and it was essentially the Ty Gibbs Invitational.
There you go.
I think we're going to have a good rivalry between the two of them in the years to come.
I like rivalries. I think rivalries are good for the sport. I think we need to see more Kyle Busch attitude amongst other drivers. It would be fun.
Yes.
Could you imagine Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle in their primes? Competing against each other.
Now, at least for the Truck Series, I do also want to mention Tanner Gray matched his career best finish. Parker Klingerman drove through the field twice to finish 4th. Trevor Bayne,
not bad for a TV guy.
Yeah. And Trevor Bayne for about an hour and a half had his first top 5 in 2 years before his truck failed post-race inspection.
Yeah,
that was. I hate that. Heights. But we don't have heights in Cup. Why don't we have heights in truck?
My understanding is because it's a cost issue in Xfinity and truck.
Okay, so my understanding is
I think that needs to be a high rule in Cup.
Well, if you really tech the trucks, half of them wouldn't get on the dang track anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother issue. When you got drivers in the Truck Series saying, "Man, I could get a ride, but not there," So
yeah.
So not saying any teams in particular, but it's. I wanted to. Chris Knight told me one time. He says, "I can get you a ride." He said, "For me, to drive." I was joking that I wanted to race a truck or an ARCA car.
I'd down to race a truck. I got my suit.
Well, another driver came up to me and he's like, "Dude, be careful what trucks you get in, what cars you get in." He says, you don't want you want one that's going to at least finish the first lap. So, and we see some that haven't, and I'm probably going to catch some hell from some truck teams. But actually, to be honest with you, some of those teams are no longer in the sport, so that's a good thing.
Well, I was going to say, I remember the first race I covered for you, which was Martinsville last year. I'm walking down pit road after lap 1 with Matt Corson because we were going over to the press box, and there's a truck behind the wall that didn't even make it to the pace laps, and it's on fire because of an electrical short.
Yes, and that did happen.
Yeah.
So, running any kind of race team is tough. Like
Hey.
So even with karting, let me just share this. With karting, when I raced, that was tough. Like, and you're talking about something that just costs $3,000, a 1-cylinder, 80cc or 100cc or 125cc 2-stroke motor, or a 206 4-stroke motor, whatever it might be. I mean, you got all those chassis parts, the bumpers, the frame rail, the brakes.
Okay, so I'm going to deviate from your script here that you gave us. Speaking of race teams and race cars and putting stuff together, our driver, Kickin' the Tires driver, Ryder Wells, went out and got his first career win this weekend in the micro sprint. That's right. And let me just tell you this. I don't know if y'all read the story or if I went into enough detail in the article to say exactly what was going on. This kid had homecoming on Friday night at the high school. Great picture of he's got an older sister who's the soccer princess for our local school here. So she was in the homecoming court, and she's got all these friends that are on the homecoming court. He's getting air kisses from high school girls. He's 13. That's got to be, that's got to be really cool for him. His friends have got to love that. But he's at homecoming. His race car is torn apart down to the frame. Why? Because they're replacing stuff. They're rebuilding axles. They're putting in power steering. They're doing all the work, all the stuff that I have no clue how to do it. You know what I do? I grab wrenches. When I go work on the car, because I actually help these guys. We sponsor them and I help them. And I do a little bit more than just marketing and PR, but I'll hand them wrenches because I have no clue. So I get it. Yeah. Saturday morning, they find out that he can take over the points lead in the track standings at Gulf Coast Speedway in Alvin, Texas, which is about 2 hours from here. But he had a soccer game earlier in the day, and he had to be finished by a certain time. Oh, yeah, they still have to put the car together. So they put the car together. Completely back together, set everything up to the best of their ability, went to the soccer game, left as soon as it was over, got to the track, rolled straight onto the track for a heat race, goes from fifth to third in the heat race, I think, fifth to second in the heat race, and then turns around, goes out, and is winning by half a lap at the end of the feature. So Kickin' the Tires, preferred contractors, the number 24 with Ryder Wells, ended up in victory lane this week for his first career win. So props to him. And I have learned a lot about race cars because of this kid.
That is awesome. All right.
Speak.
Go ahead.
No, I'll let you.
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Seth. I'm done.
I was going to say, speaking of kids, let's talk about the Xfinity Series and the kids in there.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a bunch.
That's what I was going to go into too. Perfect. Yeah. So with the Xfinity Series, they wrap up their regular season with Chase Briscoe winning his 7th of the year at Bristol, and we finally have our 12.
I'm not supposed to do that, but I like Chase.
I think a lot of people like Chase.
He's just a good all-around human being.
Yeah.
He really is. He really is. And we need to. I'm going to reach out and see if I can get him on the show because he really is a cool dude.
Sounds like we're going to have to keep doing this during the off season now that we got so many people you want on the show.
Try to tell you that, but you wouldn't believe me.
All right, but Chase Briscoe going in as the first seed. Actually, him and Austin Cindric being tied for that top spot. Briscoe owning the tiebreaker because he has 2 more wins than Cindric. But Cindric with double the stage wins more than Briscoe. They both go in with 2,050 points. Then it's Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson, Brandon Jones, Justin Haley, Harrison Burton, Ross Chastain, Ryan Sieg, Michael Annett, Riley Herbst, and Brandon Brown, all advancing into the NASCAR Xfinity playoffs. So all 3 of Junior's full-time Xfinity cars going in. I believe all of the Toyotas getting in, at least the Gibbs Toyotas going in, and then both Fords throughout the entire Xfinity field making it into the playoffs, along with a few more filling in the gaps. But what do you guys think about that? Who is your favorites to go in for the championship?
Well, Allgaier, Briscoe, Cindric, and that's at least 3 of the final 4 for the Xfinity Series. Who the 4th one is?
Noah Gragson.
You say Noah. I'm going to go with Brandon Jones.
I would say Harrison Burton, because he quietly finishes so well. Check this out. Right now, if you look at everyone above him, you have Briscoe and Cindric, who have 14 and 17 top 5s. Then you have Noah Gragson, who has 11 top 5s. But Allgaier, Jones, and Haley both only have, all of them only have 8 top 5s. And then when you get down to Harrison Burton, 13 top 5s. He is so quietly consistent, just finishing right there, just collecting the points when he needs them. I feel
5
like
of those came like in a row. 5 of those came in a row at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and most people will look down and say, well, Ross Chastain has 13 top 5s too. And I'm just not feeling it with Chastain this year. He's not finding his way to victory lane. I feel like he needs to if he's gonna get up there.
He's got bigger fish to focus on right now with the Cup Series ride next year. I know he wants to do a good job for Colleague, but that's going to be a lot of things he's going to have to go through mentally as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also for Chastain, I think he only has 1 or 2 stage wins as well. I think Harrison might be about the same, might be a little bit more, but Harrison has the actual race wins as well that gives him the playoff points.
Well, Harrison doesn't have any stage wins actually, but yeah, he does have the 2 race wins, which obviously are a lot more valuable than stage wins. So
right, those carry all the way to the end of until you're knocked out.
Yeah, no, I feel like the 2 Fords are pretty much guaranteed. Allgaier, if he can keep this momentum up, he's gonna pretty much lock in that 3rd seed. That 4th one though is gonna be up for grabs over the next several races for the Xfinity Series. So that'll be a fun one to keep an eye on and see how those guys do. But go ahead.
One more note for the Xfinity Series. I do also want to give a shout out to Brandon Brown and Ryan Sieg, the 2 underdogs that made the playoffs. Sieg, I know he has more help from RCR this year, especially thanks to its sponsor, CMR Roofing and Construction. And Brandon Brown, after they made the playoffs, they were able to lease our ECR motors, I believe, for 2 of the first 3 races in the playoffs.
Oh wow!
And that's organization. I mean, they're doing everything they can to get to the track and compete every week, and they're not a Gibbs or a Penske or anybody else. They're racers. They're grinding it out. So definitely hats off to Brandon. I don't want to slight him at all.
Especially with the distraction he had with his father fighting off cancer a few weeks ago as well. So
yeah, cancer's a bad deal. So that's
no fun.
Yeah, prayers for everybody who's has to deal with that. What else do we have here this week? Let's see. Cup starts round of 12, and we did get one news item today. The NASCAR appeals panel has upheld the suspension of Mike Wallace for insensitive or whatever comments that he may have made. My understanding is that Mike Wallace had shared some social media posts that some people deemed inappropriate. Look, we all share social media posts. Sometimes you need to think before you hit send. Something might be funny, but you don't need to talk about it. You don't need to comment on it. You don't need to share it. Case in point, some of the memes with Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan are hilarious, but I'm not sharing any of them. And they're not inappropriate. They're funny, but I'm not trying to tick off anybody.
No.
I can do it on my own. I don't need somebody else to help me.
You could share the old classic Windows landscape that you get when you first start up your computer, brand new one,
and people will fight you over that.
Of course.
Now, something I do want to say though is, at least it's my understanding, whatever the specific post for Mike Wallace in question, whatever meme he shared, he deleted from his Facebook. So anyone who is trying to go and look and find the one that is the culprit, so to speak, because there are still some up there. It's not any of the ones there. It's not any of the specific rants he went on. It's something had there and it's not there now.
I sent him a text and offered him. I said, "Look, we're controversial, but we also believe in telling both sides of the story." And the offer is still open to Mike Wallace. And he's got the text. If he wants to reply, he can come on the show. I can do a story either way. If obviously he was waiting for the appeals panel to rule. So either way, if he does decide to talk about it, I've extended that olive branch out there the same way I would if Kyle Larson or anything like that, if he wanted to talk about what was going on and or his future for that matter. So, but yeah, that was the only news item that I really saw today come down from NASCAR.
Well, and the only other news item I saw today was Jeremy Clements, who failed to make the Xfinity Series playoffs. His sponsor abruptly cut ties with them effective this weekend.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's fun.
And I think that sponsor, RepairableVehicles.com, has been with them for like 12 years.
Wow.
So,
look, the market, there's probably a lot at play. I wouldn't read it just because he didn't get the playoffs. I would read it more that with COVID, with the economy, look, we don't have sponsors right now for some of those same reasons. So, and I'm working on different things, trying to put some stuff together. But yeah, it's hard for everybody. And I own a marketing company. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, Jerry, this was a start of the round of 12, which means 4 guys are not going to Vegas very happily. Cole Custer, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Matt DiBenedetto. I think 3 of those drivers can still hold their heads pretty high. You're talking about Cole Custer and William Byron getting their first wins. I know Byron's won an exhibition race, but getting his first points win at Daytona. Custer getting that win earlier on that green-white checkered move. And Matt DiBenedetto making his first ever playoffs. Those 3 guys have nothing but pride to carry over, to hold their heads high. So nothing to be ashamed of for those 3. Ryan Blaney, I think that's a little different story. I feel like he's probably a little disappointed, whether in himself and the team or just in his situation of just bad luck throughout the year, feeling like he probably could have made it a lot further. But those are the first 4 out of the playoffs. So now at the bottom of the cut going into Vegas this weekend, we have Eric Almirola sitting in 9th, who is tied with Austin Dillon right now. So that is 8th and 9th. You have Kyle Busch in 10th, Clint Boyer in 11th, and Kurt Busch in 12th. All 5 of those drivers are only separated by 4 points.
It's going to make this a tough one.
Are you getting knocked out in this round? No. No. I'm not getting knocked out in this round. You'll win and advance, probably at Talladega. Yes.
Hey.
So Kurt's okay.
I'm going to say this. Most people have the magic 8 ball. Jerry has the magic bobblehead.
That's right. I got bobblehead Kurt.
Magic.
Wait till he watches the show and sees that I'm using his bobblehead. That's what you need. I need to send you a photo so that you can use that on the splash screen for YouTube.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, let's do it. Seth, let's start with you. Who are your 4 picks that are not going to make it to the round of 8?
I'm going to stick with the because before the playoffs started, we had picked essentially our championship 4 and who we thought was going out round 1, round 2. I'm going to stick with that, and I think the Busch brothers, Boyer and Dillon, are going to be out this round.
The Busch brothers, Boyer and Dillon.
That's where I'm going.
You are not making any friends.
Well, hey, you said we like to be controversial, so.
So let's see. Wow. I'm thinking that Kyle wins Vegas, Kurt wins Dega, and the Roval.
Probably going to be Chase or MTJ.
I still think that Talladega is going to be a bad day for Kevin Harvick. I mean, let's face it, he drives for Tony Stewart. And Tony Stewart loves that track. And anything that can go right at Talladega always goes right for Tony Stewart.
Except for that one year when he literally probably caused the biggest big one at Talladega in
he owned it.
Years.
Yeah. But you need to go, if y'all want something funny, you need to go watch go get the YouTube clip of Tony talking about Talladega and doing the, flipping the race and running half the cars one way and half the cars the other way. Mike Arning, his PR guy, is in the background, like, just, yeah, it is amazing. So if it's way better than this show. So,
okay.
Let's see, who do I kick out? Man, I think Bowyer's out. It's a very good possibility that Almirola might not make it. I don't think a bad race at Talladega will keep Harvick out. I think Harvick gets knocked out the next round. So, and Bobblehead Kurt just told me that it's not going to be him. So, man.
You have Bowyer and Almirola.
William Byron.
He's already out.
He's already out. Okay. Bowman, though. Bowman's not out.
Bowman's not out yet.
Okay, Bowman. That's what I was thinking of.
And you've limited yourself to Hamlin, Keselowski, Logano, Chase, and Truex. And Dillon.
Whitney's going to be mad at me.
All right.
If I had to pick one, if they don't turn it around, it's going to be Austin, except for the fact that they are going to Talladega and he runs well there.
Uh-huh.
And Martin Truex Jr. hasn't been as great as he normally is, but I don't know how much of a cushion he has. So
not much. He has about 11 points over the cut line right now.
Yeah, so if I had to guess, I honestly think that it truly could be Truex because if you remember back, there was a few years ago that Truex just couldn't. I mean, he was snake bit. I mean, he had bad luck almost every time he went out there. If I had to, that's a tough one. That is a real tough one because he's got to battle his own teammates, and then you've got Dillon who's good at the super speedways. Mm-hmm. So that would be a coin flip. And since I don't want Whitney mad at me, I'm going to pick Martin.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it there, Jerry. Kind of a combination. Like what makes picking the round of 12 to the round of 8 the hardest is you have a lot of drivers who can just start firing off very easily, and then a lot of drivers who have been firing off or haven't really found the groove just yet completely fall off. So that's what makes this tough. But I'm actually going to pick two drivers who are above the cut line right now. I don't think Alex Bowman will advance. Nor do I think Martin Truex Jr. will advance.
Hey, there's two of mine.
And my other two are below the cut line. I do not think Clint Bowyer or Kyle Busch will advance.
Ooh.
I think this is the round that Kyle Busch, and I think I said this when we did this, 3 weeks ago? I think I said Kyle Busch will make it to the round of 12. But I said I don't think he'll make it out of the round of 12. And I think this is where Kyle Busch is not going to advance. So
wow. Well,
I don't think Kyle likes me anymore.
I'm going to call Samantha and have her call you.
Well, I will say this, though. For anyone interested in watching, I believe Kyle Busch has already committed to running the Monday Night Racing League season finale on Monday night. So
there you go.
If you listen to this show,
is that this week?
That's this week. The season
finale.
The season 1 finale. Yes.
After the Vegas race. Yep.
Yes.
So really, I did not know that. I thought we had a couple more weeks.
So if he watches this show, tune in to watch him probably wreck me for saying he's going to get eliminated.
He ain't going to wreck you. Look,
I won't be in the race because I'll be coming home from Vegas, so I'll be perfectly safe.
He will be. You should be home by Monday night, dude. You should be in the race. I mean, it's the last race.
IndyCar at Indy. IndyCar at Indy. On Podium Esports, 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Monday night, actually.
I'm racing. I don't care what they say.
150 laps. The IndyCar at Indianapolis, Podium Esports, and Bob Jenkins will be back on the call.
Ooh.
Well, I'm racing, and I've got to come up with a paint scheme.
And I have one in the works already.
So.
Yeah, I'll have to do it because I got my new computer. Because I used to play on my laptop, which is over here, and that's a small 15-inch screen. I got myself a 27-inch monitor here, and now I can really see when I'm driving.
I think I know why. Why don't you get something like that, and you could have a big
because that's just I was gonna say that's just a TV.
and now I think I know why Schuler used to have connection issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a nice MSI monitor and a whole sim setup, which actually I may be getting rid of and getting a new sim rig. I'm thinking about upgrading again because y'all got me hooked on this crap.
Well, what do you have right now, and where are you thinking of going to?
I'm thinking about going to the full unit with a mounted chair instead of what I've got. I've got my chair hooks to my unit. And I have a TV monitor, a TV stand for my monitor and stuff.
So that sounds like maybe something SimSeats
it's a hybrid.
does?
It's a hybrid.
Okay. I mean the new one that you would be going to.
The new one I would be going to has an adjustable seat. It's got a space for monitor here, for wraparound monitor. The only thing it doesn't have is hydraulics.
Yeah, that sounds like a SimSeat setup, which if that is, SimSeats, there's a story that Chad Knaus tells when he got his sim rig. The gentleman that came and set it up, he's talking to him and he's like, so what do you do when you're not doing this? Oh, I drive race cars. Oh, really? Who for? Richard Childress Racing. Who are you? It was Anthony Alfredo.
Oh, Anthony Alfredo went and set up. Well,
yeah, for Chad Knaus, yeah.
Well, he needs to come set up mine then. But no, the only thing I don't, it would have the 3 monitors set up. I would have to turn everything again. I just set this unit up the way it is, basically to have the background for the show and stuff. And now I would have to turn it again so that we would have the monitor. Everything would be able to fit in my room / wannabe office. But I don't know. I may just keep it like this. The only reason why I would switch it is if Ryder wanted this setup so that he could race and do sim work for sprint car racing.
There you go. One cool idea. This might pique some people's interest. Harvick wins his 9th of the season at Bristol. Harvick having a killer of a year. 1,400 something laps led. No DNFs by Harvick yet. That's quite the year. I don't know how else to say it. But instead of winner stickers, they do that and it kind of just runs down the back post like that. Why don't they just add H's on his paint scheme so it just goes Busch the more he wins?
Well, that's an idea. Or
because that's a sponsor thing.
I know. If they pitch that to Busch Beer, Busch would be 100% on board with something like that.
Well, here's what I was thinking. With how much he's winning, on the hood, do a giant winner sticker in the form of a mug, so that way Busch Beer winners.
Oh, maybe if he wins the championship.
Maybe.
I do want to bring one more thing up, and I'm gonna lean up here so I can see it to describe it to you. Okay, has anybody seen the NASCAR Cup Series trophy? The one that used to have Monster on it and everything. It's a big steel looking. Okay, it's made out of aluminum. Mm-hmm. Well, in true NASCAR fashion of let's do something. If it's good once, let's try it again. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series trophy is basically a replica of what we're using in the Cup Series. It is a big chalice, aluminum, weighs 9.2 kilograms. I'm not sure how much that is. But it's got a 235 millimeter base. All this stuff's in like metric because it's from Europe.
Well, 9.2 kilograms comes out to about 20 pounds.
Yeah, so it's 700 millimeters high, which I know how high that is because that is 70 centimeters, and that is about this much shorter than a meter. So, yeah. So that's their trophy. I can't show you a photo of it. You can go online. But the Euro Series today announced that they're going to use this trophy, and it's got the tracks all laid into it, kind of like the Sprint Cup Series or the Cup Series trophy.
I wonder
Sprint because it's right here. See Sprint.
Well, here's my question then, because I know they had to actually drop due to COVID. I wonder if those two are still on it because of how far along the process had to have been.
I don't know.
It's a good question.
It took 100 man hours to put this to build this trophy.
Well, either way, I think it's pretty cool, pretty unique. Now, the Euro Series, technically, yes, it is NASCAR. I think it's actually administered by the FIA. At least
I don't know. I was supposed to go over there this year, and obviously COVID stopped that.
Well,
so.
I know Mike Snyder ran it last year, and
yes.
He and I were talking about it, and I was also talking about it with Andre Castro, who is an American who races in the Euro 2 division there. Both of them have said, yes, it is NASCAR, but they do have a lot of FIA rules because it's FIA officials on track at the track, like
sure.
avoidable contact, track limits, etc.
Well, it's in Europe, and they have different, in all fairness, they have their own set of ways to do things, but it does have the NASCAR branding, and now they have a cool NASCAR trophy that's similar to the Cup Series trophy. So
I know
that's pretty good.
I know the Mexico Series also has their own unique set of rules. They're either to a certain lap, like the U.S., Canada, Euro Series, or to a specific time limit. And that's because of different cultural ideas that they have in which an event is supposed to start and end at a specific time.
Wow.
No.
Well, I guess we need to wrap it up. We got a show. We did a show, another one. This was our fourth show.
Yeah, episode 4. Yeah.
We're moving on.
We've done this for a whole month.
Fourth week of the playoffs. That's right. And I never thought we'd get past the first one.
I have got to go because I have to cover that California Clash on iRacing.
I know why why Justin wants to go. He's headed out to Vegas. He needs to get on the road. The slot machines are calling his name. So
nope. I'm being responsible.
Justin,
nope.
Just go
just
and
$1.
Go
just $1 turns into $5 into $25, and soon
you're rich.
I can't.
You live in California. We know you've got plenty of money.
Yeah, I got plenty of money, and it goes straight to the government.
Well, enjoy yourself. Be careful. We appreciate what you and Rachel are doing out there this weekend, covering for us, Kicking the Tires. Seth, you've got a race coming up in a few weeks at Martinsville. I've got one next weekend and the week after at Talladega and at Charlotte at the Roval. And that's going to do it here for us on the Kickin' Show. Everybody say their goodbyes, and we'll see y'all next week.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.